Taiwan's parliament convened on Tuesday for a vote that was months in the making and for many a foregone conclusion. When the ballots were finally counted inside the legislative yuan in Taipei, the numbers told a clear story. An opposition-led effort to remove President Lai Ching-te from office had fallen well short of what the Constitution demands. Lawmakers voted 56 in favor of impeachment and 50 against, with no invalid ballots recorded. But 56 votes were far short of the 76 needed, a two-thirds supermajority of all 113 legislative seats for the motion to succeed. Cheng Chi-chen, vice chairman of Taiwan's legislative yuan, formally announced the result to the chamber. The results of the vote on the legislative yuan's motion to impeach the president are as follows: 56 votes in favor of impeachment, 50 votes against, and 0 invalid ballots, he declared. It is hereby noted that the motion to impeach the president submitted by the yuan did not reach the threshold of two-thirds, or more of all legislators, as stipulated in Article 4, Paragraph 7 of the additional articles of the Constitution. Therefore, the motion to impeach is not adopted. With those words, most dramatic political challenge of Lai's presidency was formally over, at least for now. The impeachment vote was the first of its kind in Taiwan's history. For all its symbolic weight, however, the result had been widely anticipated. The Kuomintang and Taiwan People's Party hold 52 and 8 seats, respectively, compared with 51 seats held by the ruling Democratic Progressive Party. Together with 2 independent lawmakers ideologically aligned with the KMT, the opposition bloc could muster only 62 seats, roughly 55% of the legislature, leaving them well below the constitutional threshold. Even if the motion had cleared the legislative bar, removal from office would have required backing from two-thirds of the sitting justices at the Constitutional Court, a body that currently lacks in its justices to meet the legal quorum for a final ruling. In other words, the road to removing Lai was blocked at multiple points, and the opposition knew it going in. The impeachment drive did not emerge from nowhere. Lai and his Democratic Progressive Party have been locked in a bitter conflict with the 2 opposition parties that control parliament since he took office in May 2024. The immediate trigger was a fiscal dispute. The proceedings were initiated by the KMT and the TPP after Premier Cho Jung-tai refused to countersign opposition-backed amendments to the act governing the allocation of governing revenues and expenditures. In plain terms, the ruling administration declined to implement a revenue-sharing bill that opposition lawmakers had passed. The opposition called it a constitutional violation. The government called it defending democratic norms. Relying on their combined majority, KMT and TPP lawmakers passed a motion to initiate the impeachment process on December 26, 202. What followed was months of public hearings, committee reviews, and investigative sessions, a process that built toward Tuesday's floor vote. The motion was put to a vote on the eve of Lai's 2-year anniversary in office. The timing was not accidental. Before the vote was called, opposition lawmakers took to the chamber floor to make their case. One final time, KMT Caucus Secretary General Lin Pei-seung did not hold back. He accused Lai of being incompetent on foreign affairs and heavy-handed on domestic ones. The president has disrupted the constitutional system and order. We must let his name go down in history, Lin said. The Taiwan People's Party was equally firm. TPP caucus whip Chen Qing-lung said his caucus would unanimously support the impeachment motion, as Lai had failed to uphold any of the 4 pillars of peace he proposed in his inauguration speech in 2024, strengthened national defense, improved economic security, stable and principled cross-strait leadership, a send of values-based diplomacy. Other opposition legislators pushed the rhetoric further. KMT legislator Miu Shu-ting accused Lai of failing to respect the legislative majority, while Ko Ju-chun threw a stack of papers on the floor, claiming Lai had failed to fulfill 99% of his campaign promises. Lawmaker Huang Chien-pin added the motion was a tool to force the president to hear the voices of the public. The KMT's framing throughout the process has been consistent. This is about constitutional accountability, not political score settling. Lin Pei-seung argued that the impeachment movement aims to protect democracy, and that in Taiwan, no one figure is above the Constitution or the law. It is unacceptable, he said, for a democratically elected president to refuse to be bound by democratic institutions. The DPP, for its part, refused to dignify the process with full participation. The ruling party dismissed the impeachment drive as political theater. DPP caucus chief Chuang Jue-si and said his party boycotted the review sessions because the opposition was turning a political dispute into an impeachment matter. He made clear, however, that DPP lawmakers would attend the final vote on May 19, not to engage with the opposition's arguments, but to formally reject them. The day before the vote, DPP lawmaker Wu Suyao went a step further, directly questioning the opposition's motives. She said the KMT and TPP are coordinating with external hostile forces to manipulate Taiwan's political struggles, a thinly veiled reference to Beijing, which has long viewed Lai with deep suspicion. That accusation points to one of the deeper fault lines running beneath all of this. Lai has been an outspoken defender of Taiwan's sovereignty and has accused China of being the root cause of instability in the region. The KMT occupies a very different position. The party favors closer relations with China, and its chairperson, Cheng Li-wen, recently traveled to Beijing to meet Chinese President Xi Jinping. The KMT blames Lai for worsening cross-strait tensions. It is this fundamental disagreement over Taiwan's identity, its relationship with China, and the kind of leader the island needs that gives the impeachment fight its charged atmosphere. This was never really just about a budget bill. The political friction has extended beyond the fiscal dispute into Taiwan's security posture. The KMT and TPP rejected the government's proposed $1.25 trillion new Taiwan dollars in spending on critical weapons, which included U.S. arms and domestically procured drones and other munitions. Instead, after months of political wrangling, the opposition parties passed a budget of $780 billion new Taiwan dollars for U.S. arms only. For a government that has staked its credibility on defending Taiwan against what it describes as an increasingly assertive Beijing, having its defense ambitions trimmed by the legislature carries real consequences. It is another chapter in what has become a sustained standoff between an executive branch that believes it has a democratic mandate and a parliament that insists it is exercising its constitutional role. With the impeachment motion dead, Lai Ching-te remains firmly in office. The vote count, 56-50, suggests the opposition could not even fully consolidate its own numbers around the effort, a telling sign of the motion's limits. But the political tension that produced this moment has not gone away. The DPP and the opposition bloc are still fundamentally at odds over governance, the budget, cross-strait policy, and the Constitution itself. Both sides have accused the other of undermining Taiwan's democratic framework. Both will be watching the next move carefully. Tuesday's result settles the question of the presidency for the foreseeable future. What it does not settle is the broader struggle over who gets to define what Taiwan stands for, and that battle is far from over.